Hi, I'm Don from DonDronesOn. Let's check out the Yuka Mini 800H robotic lawnmower, a budget-friendly solution to mowing your lawn from the couch. The Mammotion folks sent me this Yuka Mini 800H robotic lawnmower in exchange for this review, but I'll give you my honest assessment, both the good and the bad for this little guy. This is my second Mammotion lawnmower review. I did the Luba Mini 1500H about a month ago. They liked that review, and when I said I was feeling guilty that my partner down the road had to mow her lawn manually, well, they offered me the Yuka Mini to try out. Thank you. Now, I'll begin by saying the Yuka Mini 800 is not really a good selection for her property. The Yuka Mini is basically their entry-level robot, designed for relatively small, fairly smooth lawns. It's perfect for city properties, for example. Joy's property, on the other hand, is bigger than mine, about 5,000 square meters, or roughly an acre in total. It's hilly, rough in spots, with outcroppings of rock here and there, and just to add to the fun, heavily wooded. So I really expected the Yuka to be limited to mowing her main lawn area only, this area behind me. So was I ever surprised? It handled much more than I ever imagined possible, dealt with most of the terrain easily, and never had a connection issue, even at the far end of her property. For sure, there were a couple of areas of steep hills, some rocks and stumps that it did get stuck on, but for the most part, now it's working brilliantly. The Yuka Mini 800H comes fully assembled in one big cardboard box. Its enormous quick start guide makes setting things up really easy. The charging station does require 4 screws to put it together, but it's very simple. The biggest challenge in setting up the system is good placement of the RTK antenna. The RTK antenna is crucial for providing centimeter level positioning accuracy to the robot. The antenna must have a very clear view of the sky to pick up GPS satellites, and you really want to select a permanent location for this piece of the kit, because if you have to move it, even an inch, all your mapped out pieces of the lawn will be screwed up. Fortunately, in this case, the garage roof offered an unobstructed view of the sky, and there was a conveniently located AC power outlet just inside the door. Take your time in choosing that RTK position, and you'll save loads of time later. So let's have a closer look at the robot. Let's start with the wheels. So these are the drive wheels. This unit drives from the rear wheels only. They are independently motorized though, so if it's turning, you'll see it counter rotate, and otherwise they go in the same direction. Very aggressively treaded, and you can see here I got a lot of mud in here. If you're driving on a hill, or if the turf is say very weak where it's driving, and it takes a corner, it will really chew into that terrain. So the good news about that aggressive tread there is that it can handle remarkably tough terrain. I am stunned at what it can get in and out of, helped by the vision system, of course. But the bad side is that on hills and things, it can really chew up the grass. So the other wheels are at the front here, underneath, and they're just bogey wheels, basically, almost like a grocery cart set of wheels. They're plastic, and they are fine. I do find that on loose gravel and things like that, it kind of is hard to control, because these things a little bit knock it around a little bit. So while we're under here, this is the main cutting disc here, the only cutting disc. I don't know why I called it the main one. And it's got 5 razor blade-like cutting things. They swivel, so if it hits a rock, they kind of swivel out of the way. They are easy to replace, and you can see there's 2 holes on them, so you can kind of switch them around and use both ends of the razor blade, basically. This has been running quite a while, and you can see there's a little bit of stuff stuck to it, just like any lawnmower, but not very much really. And the key here is that this thing cuts just a tiny bit off the top. So if you're running it, say, every couple of days or even every day, it's just picking off just a little bit, and you don't get that big mat of turf stuck underneath your lawnmower. The other thing, and I'll just mention it as You know, it doesn't seem like much of anything, but it's remarkably convenient. This is the handle. If you're carrying this thing around, you just pick it up by that front part, and it's very easy to carry with one hand. It weighs about 10 kilos, or roughly 20 pounds. So, at the front here is the vision system. It's a stereoscopic thing. There's 2 cameras, and somehow it uses those to figure out where it's going and avoid obstacles like trees or rocks or people or cats or anything like that. There's no bumper system, no sensors here, no physical sensors. It does it all with the vision system, which is actually remarkable. Also, between the eyes, there are some LEDs that provide light in a low light situation, or if it's driving at night or anything like that. Behind the vision system, there's a rain sensor. If it starts to rain while the robot is operating, it will return to base and basically pause the task. To resume the task, you have to manually start it from the app. And here is the emergency stop button. If you hit that, everything stops. And it's a great safety mechanism that if you do hit that, or for that matter, if somebody lifts it up, the whole thing just shuts down and you have to physically intervene to restart it. And I think that's a good safety thing. So if kids get into it or anything like that, it's not going to start operating without you physically coming out and turning it back on. So to turn it back on, you press the green grass thing or the mowing button and then start. And if you wanted to send it home manually without using the app, you can hit the home button and then start. And then this is the master power switch here. I generally don't use that power. I turned it off for this little demonstration so it wouldn't whine about me lifting it. But otherwise, I just leave it on all the time.
The front wheel lifted. The robot tilted.
All right. Oh, one last thing. There is a safety key here that if you remove it, the robot will not work. And so that's just kind of an anti-theft thing or anti-tampering or whatever. So you just push that back in place, and it does come with a spare one of those just in case you lose it. All right. Oh, there's 2 big LEDs, one on either side here. They're not showing right now because I've got it turned off, but they basically shine green, flash green when it's charging, that kind of thing. And when you lift it up, they flash blue. Might want to consider turning those off because, I mean, they're kind of cool. They are very, very neat looking, but at night, when it's just sitting there, even after it's charged, they glow green and they're pretty bright. Now, at the back end, these 2 metal contacts on the sides, those are the charging contacts. So when it goes into its charging station, they kind of guide it in and they make sure that you have a great contact for charging. Part of that guidance mechanism is an infrared sensor between the charging dock and the machine to help it guide straight in there. And underneath this is the replaceable battery. I think that covers it. Forgot to mention the height adjustment. So this is the height adjustment wheel. On this model, the adjustment is manual on the device itself. You can't do it on the app. And all you do is you push it down and turn it to where you want it. It's marked in inches. And this particular one, because it's the 800H model, is from 2 inches up to 3.5 inches. Those are the higher settings. You can also get a version of this that is a lower range of heights. Once your robot is charged up, everything's connected to the home Wi-Fi, you've got the app on your phone, and you've taken any firmware updates that might be available, you're ready to map your first bit of the lawn. To program your Yuka to mow a particular part of your lawn, you basically create task areas. And to do that, you go onto the app, you tap on the map, you hit create, and you're given 4 options to create an area, which is a part that you want mowed, a no-go zone, which is an area, perhaps like a garden area that you do not want the robot to mow in. Channel is the next one. Channel defines a connection point, basically a little roadway where it's not going to mow, but it's going to connect it from your charging station to a task area or from one task area to the next. And all of these are very easy to create. You basically tap the one that you want, like a task area, which is what I'm going to do next, and then guide the robot manually using two little virtual joysticks right on the app. You guide it around the perimeter of an area or a no-go zone, and you guide it along the path that you want it to travel between areas. It's very cool and it's very easy to set up. By the way, don't try to map everything out all at once. Do one or two areas first to get familiar with the process and to see how your robot handles. It's not hard to make modifications to the perimeter or even completely remap areas if you need to. In my case, I started with Joy's main lawn, the one here, and ended up with 10 zones over the next few days. You can have up to 15 zones with the Yuka Mini, up to 1,200 square meters in total. After that, you can program it to run one or more zones at a time on any particular schedule you would like. And when it's running, if it runs low on battery power when it's working away, it just heads home, recharges, and then resumes where it left off, which is very cool. Incidentally, the vision system is amazing. It'll spot obstacles like a shoe or, well, in this case, my camera, and happily drive around them. And the same for animals or kids. It's very safe. And yes, it shuts off immediately if you lift it up. Even Lucy the cat is getting used to it. Now, I mentioned that it did have troubles in a couple of spots. The first problem area was this hill. The Yuka is supposed to handle hills up to 24 degrees, or what they call a 45% slope. Now, I measured this to be about 24 or 25 degrees, but it's made way worse by loose soil and little spikes of shrubs poking up all over the place. In the end, I decided to just leave it for manual weed whacking. The other place it got stuck was on a few tree roots and rock outcroppings. Now, for the most part, it just maneuvers around obstacles like trees and rocks and stuff, and in some cases just rattles right over them. It was actually amazing to watch it fight its way through some areas. But there were a few spots I had to mark as no-go zones or actually remove the obstacles. I'd recommend watching it very carefully the first time it works on a new zone, just to make sure everything goes hunky-dory. But again, the Yuka is overachieving on this property. It's designed for smaller, smoother lawns, but even so, once I worked around the worst areas, it's been mowing regularly and without complaint. As a bonus, this robot is unbelievably quiet. You can barely hear it mowing. The results are great and a huge time savings for Joy. There's links below this video for more information or for purchasing a Yuka Mini on Amazon. And Mammotion often is running promotions on this entry-level mower, so do check back from time to time for pricing. Thanks for watching.